And we are live. Hey, Stu,
Hello, Jim.
sell me this pen.
Man,
Pitch me
that
on
was,
this pen.
let me tell you the beauty of the Sharpie. It is indestructible. I have used Sharpies for decades and I use them for my workouts. I even write letters with Sharpies. I love them so much.
Okay, that's a
And
testimonial, but that's not a pitch.
yeah, I know. I suck at pitches, Jim. That's why I really am interested in what you have to say today because after reading your newsletter today,
Uh huh.
if you haven't read it, folks, you should. We're going to talk about it though. Is
Okay.
this is probably where I struggle the most because I talk about something that I know really well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is what I do. This is my life. I can talk about it. Drop a hat, I am on the topic, right?
Okay.
And then talking about a call to action or even pitching something specific,
Mm-hmm.
that transition for me is very difficult.
So
And
you
it
struggled with
just
your
doesn't
transition?
yes, I am struggling with my transition right now. I am almost there.
So here's the thing, and we're gonna so today, and obviously this is webinar month, and we had to reschedule the master class to next Tuesday for some personal reasons. But the the thing I want to talk about today is the webinar pitch, and the problem is that you are held hostage by your own wisdom
Mm,
because you know this stuff so well. You want to pour into people and for them to just know how important this is and you want to prove how much you know
mm.
because you want to help them. And I've seen situations, I mean, I've been speaking on stages and pitching for 30 years. I mean, the first real pitch I ever did was I was standing in front of a bunch of real estate agents back in 1996 and was pitching on them on me making them a website. And the problem is that if you teach too much, you end up it's like a buffet.
Mm.
You want somebody to buy your big box of groceries, but if you let them eat at the all you can eat buffet, and then you're thinking, hey, if you enjoyed everything that you had at the all you can eat buffet, then you're going to want to buy this truckload of groceries. The problem is that when you go to the grocery store on an empty stomach, do you buy more or less than when you go to the grocery store and you're really hungry? If you think about it.
Oh, I will buy more if I'm hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the problem is if you teach them too much, and I've literally had people come up to me where I've been at a conference and I mean, I always sell okay, but when I've sold the least is when I've taught the most.
Huh.
And then you look at people who are on stage and you're like, that person's not teaching a damn thing. And they end up looking like the Pied Piper with everybody heading to the back of the room to buy stuff. And
Hmm.
you sit down and you're like, that's crap. And then you start getting pissed.
Hmm.
Then you start getting mad because that guy never taught anything. He didn't teach. There's nothing. They're not doing anything. And the speakers are all pissed. But this is the person who's walking away with the money. And the problem is that you're teaching too much or you're teaching the wrong stuff. And so last week we talked about basic three types of webinar structures. Okay, the basic steps, and your goal here is to show them the hard way and sell them the easy way. The three secrets with the big idea is to basically expose the false beliefs, replace them, and what you're going to sell them is the thing that makes all of this possible.
Nice.
And then the 5 questions is really about transformation, going from loser to winner, skinny or, fat to fit. And then what you're going to sell them is the vehicle for that transformation. And then I mentioned the stack. So the problem is that most people think that the pitch happens at the end of the webinar. The pitch starts from the very first headline. Remember, we talked about last week, and if you didn't, you need to go back and look. But it all starts with that promise, and that promise becomes a through line for the entire presentation. So the pitch isn't even really the pitch. The pitch is the culmination of a presentation process that started all the way back with the headline that you use to get people on. And so what happens is when people see the pitch as an event after the event, they change how they present, they change their voice, they change their cadence, they change their slides, might even change, their overall mode completely changes. And at a minimum, people subconsciously put their guard up because something changed. And most of the time, it's so obvious that you'll see people in, oh, okay, training's over, the pitch has started, I'm out. And that's the problem, is that you're treating the pitch as something separate, where the pitch is just the next logical step in the training. So if you've made the right promise and you've taught the right stuff, depending on which of those frameworks you're doing, then that pitch is just the next logical thing. Your voice shouldn't change, your cadence shouldn't change, your presentation styles shouldn't change. All you're doing is saying, okay, you've come with me this far. Let me show you how you're going to get this result the fastest, the easiest, the best, the most efficiently, and with the least amount of pain. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing you do is, yes, there is a transition from the teaching to the selling. But that transition is not, okay, hey guys, I got an offer for you. You ready? Okay.
Yeah.
It's hey, let me show you how we're going to get this done and get this handled quickly. Go ahead, Steve.
No. That was what I was wanting to hear, because this is where I struggle. And in your article, this was very interesting to me. So I was just shaking my head like,
so
yes,
that, I mean, so
Jim.
thinking about your stuff, it's okay, look, you want to go to Buds, you want to be a special operator, you want to be this, let me show you how you're going to get this done faster than any other way. You're not going to do this with ChatGPT. You're not going to do this by going down to the library. You're not going to do this by going over to Planet Fitness and watching people and scared they're going to hit the lunk alarm because you actually move some heavy stuff. But let me show you how I'm able to help guys have a 90% graduation rate from Buds. And there's a little transition statement. Let me show you how. And there's other ways to do this, but this is kind of the shortcut thing. And then another way that you can do this is with the 2 choices. You saw The Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, dude, that movie's like old as hell now. Remember when that was like totally cutting edge and was the ultimate thing? And now I think The Matrix came out last century. I think that was from the 90s. Somebody look that up. I'm just curious.
From the 1900s?
Yeah, back in the 1900s. The other way to do it is say, okay, look, we covered a lot in the last 50 minutes, 45 minutes. And obviously there's more to this than I could cover in the time that we had. And right now you have two choices.
Mm.
Choice number one is the bad way, and choice number two is the good way. Now, you don't say it that way, but I've even been on webinars where they had the picture of Morpheus with the red pill and the blue pill. And it's like you can just keep doing what you're doing. You can keep struggling. You can keep screwing around. You can keep cheating your family out of actually doing this. You can keep wishing for it, wanting for it, whatever. Or you can use a proven system that has worked for me for the last 20 years. And here's the thing where, well, I don't have any testimonials. Fine. What did I just say? That it's worked for me for the last 20 years. Okay. If you got testimonials, it's worked for me and it's worked for others for the last however many. It's worked for me for 20 years and I've been teaching this to others for 5.
Mm.
This has worked for thousands of guys. Okay. But that's the transition. It's like, oh, okay. All right. I got you. And then what is the pitch? We talk about this all the time. What we need to do is present our offer in such a way that the perceived value is way higher than the cash price that we're asking for it.
Mm.
And this, you got guys, experts in webinars and stuff. You got a guy named Jason Fladlin. He's super smart with webinars. Russell Brunson, perfect webinar. I've been doing webinars for forever too. Webinar secrets. There's not one person that has has a corner on the market of being able to do webinar stuff. I mean, I give credit where credit is due. The stack that everybody has a problem with on the pitch, but the only one that has a problem with it is people who are just dorks. The stack actually, the first person I ever saw talk about this was a guy named Armin Morin. Good dude. And Armin basically said that people remember the last thing you told them. So what he came up with when he was pitching from the stage was he did the stack. And so he would have a list of here's all the stuff you're going to get. And this is straight out of infomercial world with Ron Popeil and Billy Mays and other people from back in the day. But if you just list off everything they're going to get and then you give them the price, nobody remembers what you did up here.
Mm.
So the way that you pitch it is you're like, okay, you're going to get this, and then you're going to get this. So you're going to get this and this. And then I'm also going to throw this in, and I'm going to throw this in. So that means you're going to get this and this and this and this. So you keep reinforcing the stuff that they're going to get. So you're going to get a one-on-one session with Stu Smith to come up with an unstoppable mindset. You're going to get access to the unstoppable mindset 4-hour masterclass. You're going to get access to the the physical book. So that means you're going to get, okay, you're going to get hour with Stu. You're going to get the class to refer back to anytime you want. You're going to get access to the book. Also, you're going to get a personalized roadmap plan from Stu to be able to overcome whatever. So again, you're going to get the one-on-one time with Stu. You're going to get the course you can go through over and over. You're going to get the book to refer to electronically or physically, and you're going to get your personalized plan. All of that together is worth X, but when you act right now, and I've only got limited spots because, hey, there's only 24 hours in the day. So it's not like I can take 1,000 people. So you need to sign up now because my calendar fills up fast. So when you present it that way, oh, and the total value is $697, and right now you can get the whole thing for $297, which is less than what I normally charge for a 2-hour consultation. So again, you're going to get this, 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 and this. I've got limited slots. Now, that's how you present the pitch. That's how you do the stack. Now, how do you get somebody off their ass to actually buy? You got three more things you got to do. One, you got to overcome objections. Two, you got to make sure they don't have any questions left. And number three, you got to give them a reason to act now. This is where people blow it on their pitch on their webinar. And so with the objections, these are the typical reasons why people kind of have a blockage against buying or making a decision. And those typically revolve around time, money, skills, tools, or resources. Okay. I don't know how to do something. I don't have something. I don't have the
Have the
money.
time.
I don't have the time.
Yeah.
So you got to defeat those objections. Now, where do you defeat them? Well, you don't bludgeon them like you are using a baseball bat on a honey badger coming after you when you've been smeared with chicken grease, because that's going to get really violent and ugly. So what you want to do is know these objections ahead of time, and you've been defeating these objections throughout your entire presentation. See how this works? You're not just like, oh, and at this point you might be thinking this. No, hell no, you've been thinking that all along. Hey, I don't have time to do this. Well, you got to address this in your presentation. Hey, I don't have time. Hey, I don't have the money. Okay, well, I could, with Stu's thing, I mean, I'm going to switch back and forth between physical and mental and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't have time. Bro, everybody in history has had the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's not that you don't have the time, it's that the time's not being organized correctly. And I can give you 5 frameworks to maximize that time. One of which doesn't mean you have to actually give up watching television and start living like a monk in a monastery. So you got to start, but that means you also got to identify those up front and know them and weave them into your presentation. Same thing with the FAQs. So does that mean you don't need to address them at the end? No, there's going to be some stuff that you'll need to hit. So you can actually weave those into this. So, you know, I don't have a plan. I don't know what to do. I feel kind of paralyzed. I don't even know where to start. And if you feel that way, that's why I have the 1-hour consultation with me. I have worked with thousands of guys and gals over the years, and there's no problem that you have that I haven't seen directly. I guarantee it. In fact, if you do have a problem that I've never heard of before, I'll probably write an article about it because I'm gonna be so excited that there's something new. You're laughing, but that's the kind of
That's a good
thing,
one.
Rich.
I like that.
That's
Yeah,
you know.
that's really good
So you
because that's
tie
so
that
true.
in. You tie that in with the individual stack item, and y'all let me know in the comments whether this is helpful or not. So the same thing with the FAQ. What's the difference between an objection and an FAQ? An FAQ is just a question they need the answer to that they're hung up on. So they're choking in their crawl. They got something stuck in their crawl, either with an idea, which is an objection is just an idea, or a question is something they need the blank filled in for them. And then they need a reason to act now. The easiest thing to do is just say, have a deadline. The problem with a deadline is that as soon as the deadline's over, you can't sell it anymore. So it, you know, this is what you see this with a lot of product launches. It's not so much anymore, but you know, back, you know, we're only going to sell this up until this date, and then you're never going to be able to buy it ever again. Or we only open the doors once a year. This is another one. If you've got enough marketing muscle, I know people that only open up their membership once a year. If you miss it, you're screwed. And they spend 2 months every year marketing the crap out of their thing, building up to the launch, and then it's shut for 10 months, 12 months. So a deadline is very effective, but it's a double-edged sword. You can also use bonuses. You can also use a limited number. Limited number is probably the one that is the most bullshit prone, because you'll see, the next 22 people. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
I'm looking for
It's
5 people.
right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking for 5, and then you're like, that backfired on me on a cruise when I was filling up a coaching program, and I said I was only going to take 10. And I had people literally jumping over tables to try to get to the back of the room, and somebody got hurt. And
Oh,
I was
damn.
like, okay, stop. I'll do more than one group of 10 then. I don't need people getting hurt. But that showed the power of the
The
deadline and the
limit. Damn.
limited number. It got dangerous. So, but you've got to have a reason for people to act now. And then another one that really helps with this is you have a reason for people to stay to the end.
Mm.
You have something that you tell them right up front. Hey, when you stay to the end, you're going to get my personalized checklist. Or one of the things that worked for us really, really well on a webinar that we ended up having between a 40 and 50% conversion rate on for a long, consistently, was I was doing the steps webinar. So I was teaching people our method for creating a Kindle book in 3 hours. And it was, I walked them exactly through how to do it. And the promise was, I'll give you my personal checklist with direct links to the Fiverr people that we use and all this. I mean, it was a really cool checklist. And I showed them a picture of the checklist. It was blurred out, but I showed you, stay to the end and I give you the checklist. So our stick rate, normally when the pitch starts, you'll see a dip, but that dip was cut by 75%. We had 90% of the people showing up and not leaving. And
Nice.
then when we started saying, hey, you're going to get my checklist in the actual marketing, we had a much higher show up rate as well. So we had a higher show up rate and a higher stick rate because we had a reason for them to stick around. And if more people stick around, theoretically, are you going to make more sales or less sales?
More.
More. Yeah.
Yeah.
More people show up. You get up to bat more, you got a chance to get more hits, even if your batting average stays the same. So what about the pitch? Well, if the pitch is the next logical step, and if you present it in a way that creates massive perceived value with relatively low cash value that you're asking for in exchange, they have a reason to buy now. You've answered their objections. You've overcome their objections. You've answered their questions. You've basically just kept clearing the path for them to be able to make the decision. You should be able to sell a lot more. And the cool thing is with AI, it can help you get these things made faster, figured out faster, and just clear the path for you. But the pitch is not just piling on a bunch of crap with a bunch of free ebooks and then saying, hey, I got a special offer for you after we spent this time together. I mean, I literally have had people say to me, I'm like taught my face off at a conference. And people are like, your talk was the best talk. And I'm like, okay, Well, why the hell didn't you buy my thing? Whereas I see him walking out with, Schmeckles heads thing. And to a person, what they say is, once I go home and implement what you taught, then I'll be ready for what you sold. And I'm like, shit. So the thing is, when you use these, and we're going to be teaching these frameworks on the masterclass, but when you use these three frameworks, it automatically it teaches really good stuff, but it automatically creates the need for what you're selling. And that's the key. So I've said in the past, teach the what to, teach the what to, why to, and sell the how to. That's a very, very, it's a concise way of saying it, and it's still valid. Teach what to, why to, and sell how to. But this gives you a framework where people get value, and feel the need to move on to the next step, which is the stuff that you're actually selling.
That was valuable, Jim.
Well, good.
Just want to let you know that.
Okay.
I got a whole list of notes.
And just the last thing I would say is that when you're doing your pitch, this is something that we've talked about in the past, okay? Make sure when you're describing the things that they're getting, emphasize what it does for them, not what it is. So you say, you get 1 hour one-on-one with Stu Smith. Okay. Well, before I knew who Stu was, I'm like, okay, well, But if you start saying, okay, you could spend 1 hour one-on-one with Stu Smith, a former Navy SEAL who's helped gajillion people make it through buds, and his specialty is helping anybody to develop an unstoppable mindset. No matter whether you're a kid, a senior citizen, or somewhere in between, whether you're an entrepreneur, an active duty military, or anyone in between. If you feel like having an unstoppable mindset or a never quit mindset would change your life, there's no one more qualified than Stu Smith to help you figure out exactly what that means for you at this stage of your life. That's a lot better than you get an hour with me.
Right. No, that's
I can drive up to your house and have an hour with you. You'd probably make me mow your lawn or something.
be a good use of you for sure, especially now.
So anyway, that's the stuff with pitching, and I think that's enough for today. But I know we're going to talk again masterclass next week. On Tuesday, I'm going to be revealing. I will just ask you a question, Stu. If there was a genie that planned all of this out
Oh,
for you automatically and handed it to you on a silver platter, including making all the slides, and it incorporated your avatar, your user profile, and your entire offer stack, if it helped you to brainstorm which one of those three uh, frameworks would be most appropriate, help you come up with your talking points, with your promise, with your through line, with every single thing you needed to market that webinar, including your landing page, promo emails, Facebook ads, all your follow up, your cart close. Would that be useful?
yeah, I think so, Jim.
Well, then you definitely need to show up next Tuesday because I'll
That's
be
impressive.
rolling that out
Oh, cool.
to show the folks. So, okay. Well, if you're not a member of CopyandContent.AI, you should be. And if you are, thanks for being a member and you want to stay a member. Now, Stu, I notice under your name it says you're a fitness author. Does that
I
mean you
am.
help folks to get in shape, whether for fun, health, or even for a tactical profession?
That is correct. That is what I do. In
And
fact,
where?
there's a headline feature now on StreamYard that allows you to do that. Don't blow it off. You can add whatever you want on there. It's a lot of
Whatever
fun.
I want?
Whatever you want.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I was gonna
So,
put Jim's buddy in there.
um,
World dominator.
so, all right,
I
cool.
like it.
Well, if they seriously though, if they want to get in shape, where should they go?
StuSmithFitness.com.
There you go.
Where I
Awesome.
am.
All right, everybody. Well, take it easy, and we will see you on the webinar next Tuesday, and we'll see you next time on the podcast. Bye bye, everybody.